Hello everyone. In this video, we will discuss about the development of management thoughts. From an almost unrecognized position nearly 3 centuries ago, management has rise today to the central activity of our age and economy, that is, a powerful and innovative force on which our society depends for material support and national well-being. The management thinkers over the period do a lot of studies and experiments and developed different management thoughts which have their own assumptions. The evolution of management thought during the period can be studied in three parts, that is, classical approaches represented by scientific management, administrative management, and bureaucracy, new classical approach represented by human relations movement, behavioral approach, and modern approach represented by quantitative approach, systems approach, and contingency approach. The contributions made by all the approaches to management serves as a foundation for modern management. The first approach is scientific management, which is proposed by Frederick Taylor, who is considered as a father of scientific management. He exerted great influence on the development of management thought through his experiments. He made several contributions like job analysis, which studies and analyzes various aspects of job, like time study, which involves division of jobs into smaller units and then calculate the time taken to complete each unit of job. The entire purpose is to complete each operation and the entire job in minimum time. Motion study divides the job into various movements which a worker carries out during his job. The purpose of this study is to find out essential motions and to eliminate unnecessary motions. The objective of fatigue study is to find out the number of rest intervals required during the work, which enhances the work potential and reduces the fatigue. This ultimately increases the productivity. Method study determines the best way of doing the work. It ensures minimum utilization of resources. The second contribution by Taylor is differential rate system. Under this plan, he linked incentives with production, and a worker receives low rate if he produces standard pieces and higher rate if he produces more than standard. This technique motivates the workers to produce more. Scientific recruitment and training involves application of scientific methods for selecting people for the job so that right people is selected for the right job. Under reorganization of supervision, Taylor suggested two new concepts, that is, separation of planning and doing and functional foremanship. Taylor suggested that the work should be planned by the foreman, not by the worker. Further, he also proposed that an organization should have one foreman for every special function and each foreman should give orders in his special domain. He also introduces the concept of mental revolution, which states that instead of quarreling on profits, the management and labor should try to increase production, which increases the profits. In short, labor and management should have a common interest in enhancing productivity and profits. The next classical approach is administrative management. It is developed by Henry Fayol. He presented 14 principles of management for journal and higher managerial levels. The first principle is division of work, which states that work must be allocated on the basis of skills. This leads to specialization, which increases productivity. By authority, we mean the right to give orders and instructions to get the work done. Responsibility is closely related to the authority and it arises wherever authority is exercised. An individual who is willing to exercise authority must also be prepared to bear responsibility to perform the work in desired manner. The next principle is discipline, which is essential for the smooth functioning of the business. It means obedience to authority, observance of the rules of service, respect for agreements, and respect for superiors. Unity of command states each employee should receive instructions about the work from one superior only. This will reduce the confusion and it will be easy to fix responsibility. By unity of direction, FAIL means there should be complete identity between individual and organizational goals. In subordination of individual interest, the management must put aside personal considerations and give priority to organizational goals. Next principle is remuneration. The remuneration paid to the worker should be fair. It should be based on business conditions, cost of living, and productivity of an employee. Fair remuneration increases workers' efficiency and morale. By centralization, we mean the concentration of authority at top level. According to Froel, the degree of centralization and decentralization depends on the circumstances, size of the organization, types of activities, and an organizational structure. Next principle is scalar chain. It is the hierarchy of communication from top to lower level. It defines senior subordinate relationship. As per this principle, orders or communication should be passed through proper channel of authority. It involves a concept of gangplank which states that proper channel of authority can be shortened by making direct contact with concerned authority. Next principle is order, which means everything should have a specific place and everything should be at that place. It follows the principle of right place for everything and for every man. Equity means fair treatment. Employees expect management to be equal and impartial to everybody. Next principle is stability of tenure. In order to motivate a worker to do better, we must assure them security of job. Initiative means freedom to think out and to share innovative ideas and suggestions. According to this principle, employees should be encouraged to make all kinds of suggestions to carry out their plans. And the last principle of administrative management is spirit de corps, which means team spirit. Team spirit helps to develop an environment of mutual trust and understanding. This is required in the organization to bring in the changes. The last theory under classical approach is bureaucracy. It is developed by Max Weber, a German sociologist. According to him, bureaucracy is a highly structured and formalized organization which have clear rules and regulations and line of authority. According to Max Weber, bureaucracy organizations have the following characteristics. The first one is standard rules. According to Weber, the authority in the organization should not be governed by personal preferences but should be governed by the defined rules. This brings equality and continuity of actions. Next one is systematic division of work, which increases production by improving efficiency and saves time. By principle of hierarchy, we mean every subordinate should have a superior who supervises his activities. The next feature of bureaucracy is application of rules. This means that every individual must have the knowledge and training of applications of rules as it forms the basis to grant authority. Next feature is official records. All administrative acts, decisions and rules are recorded in writing. This makes the organization independent and it can be used for future references. The last feature of this theory is rational personal administration. According to this feature, the people should be selected on the basis of their credentials and merit, and they must be paid according to their position. This brings loyalty, commitment among the employees. The next theory is human relations movement. Anton Mayo is known as the father of human relations approach. He observed the importance of human interaction and personal relationships at the workplace. He conducted a series of experiments at the Hawthorne plant to study the impact of various factors on productivity. The experiments were conducted in different phases to determine the relationship between working conditions and productivity. The studies discovered that Workers were highly responsive towards those managers who cared about them and are interested in their work. The studies also found that financial motives are important, but social issues are also equally important in workers' productivity. The following are the contributions of human relations theory. An organization is not only a techno-economic system whose sole purpose is to produce and to earn profits, but it is also a social system as well. This theory also proves that there is no relation between improved working conditions and higher productivity. According to this theory, the production norms are not only set by motion study but is enforced by group as well. This theory also reveals that workers are not motivated by money only. Non-financial rewards are also important. And finally, democratic and participative leadership style is more effective than autocratic leadership style. Neoclassical approach is behavioral theory. It is an improved and more advanced version of human relations approach. The researchers of this theory are highly against the classical organizational structures and preferred flexible organizational structures and propose that jobs should be developed according to capabilities of an average employee. They believe that decisions in the organizations should be based on practical and situations. This approach emphasized on humanizing the administration and favors the concept of self-direction rather than imposed control. These scientists do an extensive studies on leadership and suggest that human behavior is a complex concept and different people react to same situations in different ways. They suggest that no two people were alike and therefore a manager should customize their way to manage every employee. They also have a pragmatic approach to organizational conflict and recognizes that conflict is unavoidable and should be faced with determination. The quantitative approach comes under modern approach to management and emphasizes that modern day managers should use scientific and quantitative techniques such as management information system, forecasting, statistics, and computer models to solve problems and to improve decision making. Earlier, these techniques were used in battlefield to make accurate decisions, but today these are used by managers to make management decisions. According to this approach, the managers should use computer models to find out the best way of doing the job. They must use forecasting to make projections and to do planning. They should use inventory modeling to control inventories and placing orders. The implementation of queuing theory helps the managers in allocating their workstations, which minimizes customer waiting and service costs. The concept of operations management helps the managers in managing their transformation process and helps in making operations more effective. The model field of quantitative approach is MIS, that is Management Information System, which organizes the past and present data and helps the managers in making projections. The managers can use this information to identify alternative quickly and select the best alternative. The systems approach to management defines system as an interrelated set of elements which functions as a whole. According to this approach, an organization is a system made up of four elements, that is inputs, transformation process, output and feedback. Inputs include raw material, money, technology and people. Transformation process refines and processes these inputs into output, which can be the product or services which are designed to enhance the quality of life. And finally, feedback includes comments of the customers. This process is applied to any organization or in any department of an organization. This concept of systems theory seems very simple and basic, but it requires a lot of training and practice in the workplace to implement it. This theory encourages the managers to look the organization from broader perspective and suggest that managers should recognize various parts of the organization and understand the interrelationship among them. The last approach to management is contingency approach. This approach works on the it all depends principle. According to this approach, the management actions and decisions depends upon the situation. The managers of contingency view use flexible approach and evaluate various alternatives to solve the problems. This theory states that there is no one best way to manage. This theory criticizes the classical view of one best way and suggests that the managers needs to understand situational differences and then respond to them. This theory is highly dependent on managers' experience and judgment and is best suited for modern day managers and organizations to make their decisions under highly volatile environment. With this, we are done with the development of management thought topic. For suggestions and reviews, you can mail us at usefulstudymaterial@gmail.com. Thank you.